Pro Staff, back at her again. Still don't know what the fuck we're doing, but if you want your undercarriage inspected, let me know.
What's going on? Welcome to episode 4. We had a couple of vacations in the last couple of weeks, and now we're getting ready to get started back on the car, and figured we'd update you guys on some of the progress we've made in the last couple of weeks. So as you can see, we got the front clip on the car, and everything seems to be lining up pretty good so far. We just have a couple of spots on the fascia to trim still, and a little bit of alignment, and front clip should be on permanently. Trimmed the back side of the fascia a little bit for the front tubes. Didn't need much, but just had a couple of little tabs that had to be cut off, and a little air saw action, and seems to fit really well. Got it set up for the radiator and stuff like that, and it all seems to be lining up really well. Just have to weld on the top bar, and that'll be all finished. We finished up the K-member, just painted it, and that seemed to turn out pretty well. The front end is pretty much complete for buying parts. We got SN95 spindles and brakes, a set of caster camber plates, and some Lakewood front struts with, I believe, QA1 coilovers. Got a pretty good deal off Facebook Marketplace, and seems to be pretty much complete. The previous owner did some modifications to the inner shock towers that I wasn't too happy with, so I ended up just making a couple of plates and welding them in place after we got the front end all trued up. Figured didn't want anything moving around, and couldn't hurt to add a little bit of reinforcement. So after all that's buttoned up a little bit more, we're pretty much going to be ready for the engine.
So like Josh was saying, we have a few more things left on the engine bay, and then it's ready for the engine. So episode 5 is where we're going to let you guys know, exactly what drivetrain we're running, what engine, what trans, and if we're keeping it all motor, if we're running a power adder or whatnot. So that'll come next week.
So after we got done with a little bit of the front end stuff, we moved to the back of the car and found out that Summit makes a pretty inexpensive set of torque box reinforcements, and decided to run with those. They were, I think, $90 on their website, and only took about hour and a half to install, and most of it was just cleaning off some of the stuff before installation, and they seem to go in pretty well. Right now they're bolted in place, and everything seems to line up really well. So after the video, we're going to end up tacking in a couple of spots of this and bringing them down and getting it to where everything's welded in place, and so far we're really happy with the fitment of them. On the underside of the car, ended up removing a considerable amount of paint undercoating and rust flakes and stuff like that, and just getting stuff kind of cleaned up and getting it ready for gonna end up welding the rest of the torque boxes and stuff in from the bottom here, and getting a little bit of a better inspection on what we're dealing with. And everything seems to be, for the most part, pretty clean and straight. The torque boxes were in pretty good shape, and everything didn't seem to be abused too bad. So we're gonna end up just welding them in place without having to tap anything around or fix anything. So seems to be that we're doing pretty good and making some good headway here. After we weld it all in, we're gonna snag a rear suspension setup and start moving into deciding what we're gonna do for an axle. A couple of days ago, I pulled the rear suspension out of the car, which ended up being a pretty big headache because a lot of the bolts and stuff like that were real difficult to pull. So I ended up soaking them with PB Blaster and stuff like that, and then just basically muscling them out, and it kind of revealed some not so big problems, but just some stuff that we wanted to address. Was the torque boxes from the factory. They just spot weld these in place, and a lot of the seams and stuff like that are pretty exposed. So a pretty common thing that they do is just weld up the seams and all around the torque boxes and on the inside. So we checked a few things, and everything seems to be real straight on this car, and it didn't seem to be abused. So we're going to pop the plates out and then weld up the seams behind it and kind of fill everything up and make it nice and solid, and then put the plates back in, and then weld the plates in place to get it to where everything is locked in real good, and should make it to where the car stays nice and solid and doesn't move around on us too much.
So as you guys can see, even though we each took a little vacation, progress is being made on the build. Front end's done pretty much. We got the fender tabs welded on, the cross member we picked up, the struts and brakes and spindles and stuff. Still a lot to go. We are actually waiting on some parts to come in for the engine, and that'll be hopefully next week. We can film that and get the engine buttoned up and let you guys know where we're at with that. That'll be pretty cool. Curious to see what you guys think about the setup there, but she's coming along good. I'm real happy with the progress and stuff. Josh has been busting his ass on it. Let us know what you guys think. Leave a comment. If you like what we're doing, anything else you want us to include or anything that you want to leave out. This is what we want to do. We want to connect with you guys, and you can let us know what you want to see in these videos. So take it easy, guys, and we will see you in episode 5.